Whenever we clash, it's Star Wars. We call it Star Wars. What happens when the shots ring out? It's called Star Wars.
Welcome to Spin That Back. Rick, I am. So this is our little tribute to Star Wars on Star Wars Day.
May the 4th be with you.
Yeah, just in case you didn't know. So we had a little chance to reflect on the trilogies, and so we'll just sort of be talking about its impact on us. I wouldn't say Star Wars is the best movie ever made, but it's been the most influential on me. I'm into hip hop music, so I mean, there might not be like any album that doesn't reference Star Wars at some point. There's just been so many references. It's gone beyond even just movies. I mean, it's a cultural phenomenon, and you know, like it
inspired everything from film to TV, music, video games. There's been like so many influences over the years. Comic books, cartoons, everything. A lot of people that maybe don't follow Star Wars will recognize it, but a lot of the TV shows that they grew up watching, at least at one point, made reference to it or took some type of inspiration from the original films. Not so much the new ones, but definitely the original ones had like a huge impact on just pop culture in general.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of the few movies or just anything really that hit just on that global scale and just really changed pop culture forever. I mean, it went beyond just being movies. I mean, it was, you know, it changed merchandising,
action figures,
summer blockbusters, video games. I mean, everything pretty much.
Technically, I guess people classify it as science fiction, fantasy, I guess. But I always look at it more as like a fantasy film. I mean, I just look at it as a fantasy with science fiction elements. There's so much creativity behind it. The sound effects,
the music.
Oh yeah, definitely the music. I mean, Star Wars intros.
Even if you don't know, even if you've never watched Star Wars, you hear the music and you know what it is.
Yeah,
it's like the, you know, like the intro theme on Mario Brothers, like Super Mario Brothers. Like you hear it and you know, like it's like that iconic.
Yeah. But I mean, definitely like Star Wars is just there's so much creativity behind it, and I mean, people give George Lucas so much shit about the prequel trilogies, which I mean, I agree they're not all that great. There's a lot of things that he could have done much better, but I mean, you still got to give him props just for having the ideas that he did when he originally created the first film, you know, like.
Well, I know even the I don't know if it's a knock, but they said that, you know, Star Wars, the episode 4, that it was like, it's like a mix of a bunch of different genres. It's like it's a western, it's a comedy.
Yes, it is.
It's an action movie.
Yeah.
I mean, but he did it well. You know,
very well.
What you think about, you know, about the prequels or whatever? I mean, he created that. I mean, and even when that one was getting made, I mean, people didn't know if it was gonna work. I mean, it just seemed like just something that was just so out there that it just wasn't gonna work, but it did. He made it work. The direction that he took the rest of the series in, you know, that's up for debate.
Yeah, but I mean, just as far as like what he created and what not very many people had much confidence in, you know, just I mean, because when that film was being made, nobody had any fucking clue that this was gonna be as big of a hit as it was. You know, like nobody had, even George Lucas himself, like he didn't once think it was gonna be as big as it was.
That's partly why he touched them up again with the special edition in '97 for the 20th anniversary, is that he was just never happy with the final cut of the movie. You know, that's why, you know, hate it or not, you know, which you should watch a great documentary, by the way, The People versus George Lucas, and it gets deeper into that, which we won't get into as much here, but he was just never satisfied. He put the movie out, but it wasn't his vision. But I mean, I think we love it because the original one, because that's what it is. Like, we love it the way it is.
I mean, for one, it's like nostalgia, you know. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I guess like the younger audience or someone who argues against the original trilogy not being as great as people say it is, because it's nostalgia. And I mean, yeah, to a certain extent, it is like it's very nostalgic.
I took you to see the
and I remember we watched
special edition in '97.
I had seen the original trilogy before then, and I mean, I loved it ever since I was a kid. But I mean, I kind of grew up in that group of people that I guess watched the prequel trilogy, and that was Star Wars to them, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, to me, like I was introduced to the original trilogy. And I went on to watch the prequels, and I mean, at the time when I first watched them, like I think I enjoyed them a lot more. I mean, just because I was so much younger, when you're that young, you don't really look at things. I mean, like you watch something when they explode. Like kids nowadays, like they'll watch Ninja Turtles or Transformers movies, and even those movies fucking suck.
Yeah,
they're still entertained by it. It's not until years later when you go back and you look at it and you realize, like, fuck, man, this shit's not all that good.
At least for me, I'm in my mid-30s. I mean, so I grew up with the original trilogy, obviously, but I mean, we're at the point now where Star Wars is almost 40 years old at this point, and there's a whole generation, which it still seems weird to me that there's a whole generation of kids who, like, the prequels, that's Star Wars to them. Like, for them, it's not the original trilogy. Like, a lot of them probably saw the prequels before they even saw the original. So for them, it's like, maybe even with the trailer for The Force Awakens, like, they see Han Solo and Chewbacca at the end of the very end of the last trailer that just dropped.
Yeah, but to them that doesn't really mean much.
To them, it doesn't have that impact of seeing. Yeah. They didn't get the same impact as like we did seeing Chewie and Han, and that very last clip. Like it hit us because we know what that means. But to them, they don't have that attachment to Han Solo and Chewbacca like the way that we did. So I mean, it's just a trip for me seeing that they didn't grow up with the Star Wars the same way that I did. For me, the originals are far superior. Yeah. So it's just a trip to think that the prequels. I've come to dislike them more and more as the years have gone on. But it still kind of trips me out that there's people that that's Star Wars to them. That. It's like, well, you guys, I wish they could have experienced it the way that I did.
This new trilogy that's coming out, which technically it's a sequel to the original. I think this is going to be a lot different just because, we have the old characters that, a lot of the older fans grew up with. And that was like, that's what Star Wars is to them. The world, the setting that it was in, like that's what draws the kids' attention. So like now this new one, like we have something like this new exciting world for the younger audience, like the really like 8-9-year-old kids. But at the same time, we have the old characters that like most of the older audience, and now a lot of them have kids grew up with, and it's exciting for them to take their kids to see a brand new Star Wars film, but that it has characters that are familiar to them and like their childhood when they were kids. And so I don't know, man, I think it's just really exciting. The older audience presenting this world that might be new to their children, but it's a throwback to when they were kids. I think as a parent, I mean, like I don't have kids, but I mean, if I did, like I'd be super excited to like take them to watch this one, just because it's bringing back like old memories and from like these classic films, and it's presenting them like these old characters, but for like a younger audience at the same time. Like it's pleasing the old fans and it's creating something new for a new generation of Star Wars fans. And I mean, we know they're gonna make so many films, and I mean, hopefully they're good, but I mean, this one has a lot of potential to be great, and there's just so much writing on it, and I mean, everyone hopes that it's good. Old school fans kind of are hoping, or a little more excited just because they finally get to see their favorite characters come back and see where they take it from there.
We got to experience the original trilogy. Younger kids probably experienced the new trilogy, well, the prequels, I guess, and then now like we're all gonna get to experience the true sequels. Following Return of the Jedi, so it is gonna be fun to experience that, and then also look up. There's a lot of dope videos like when you see parents show their kids like say like Empire Strikes Back for the first time, and then when you find out that Darth Vader is Luke's father, and to see the kids' reactions, like it's that same sort of reaction that I had watching it, but it's fun to see people get to show that to their kids.
It's always exciting watching that.
Yeah, and to see their reaction, especially considering a movie that's Empire would have been
1980,
like 35 years old now. So it's a trip to see kids 7, 8, 9, 10 years old get to watch that and experience this, and that it still appeals to them, even though I mean they're movies that are that old already. So that's just our reflection on Star Wars overall. At least mostly the original trilogy anyway,
and hope for the future films to be just as impactful for the older audience as well as for like the younger audience.
So let us know what you think, what your thoughts and feelings and attachment to Star Wars is. Hopefully as much as ours, and I will put a link below to our another video we're gonna do where we reflect on the original trilogy, our rewatching of it, and our experience seeing it all over again, originally unaltered.
And the prequels, sadly. But we have to mention it because, I mean,
it is Star Wars
whether
Day,
we like it or not, it's still a part of the Star Wars story, and it's something that we have to acknowledge happened.
Yeah. So, we'll link to that below. So, like, comment, subscribe, share, and may the Force be with you.
This is Star Wars.